Right, guys, and welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast with me, CY, and Baker, FPL 343. Before I ask you how you're doing, mate, you might notice on screen, if you're watching on YouTube, that we've got the old logo there. There's a reason for that. Nothing's wrong, don't worry. But the reason we've left it there is that we've got a brand new rebrand thanks to FPL Captain, who's done a bit of work for us. So, along with the new logo that we did last week, I'm going to reveal the new overlay, mate. And there we are.
Evening.
Happy days. Happy days. What do we think?
I love it, mate.
It's brilliant, isn't it? So,
I love it. Great work from Captain. It's been the highlight of my FPL week is the fact that we've got a new logo, new YouTube. Anybody that's a regular listener, go check it out on YouTube and let us know what you think of it. These are all visual things we're trying to do. Makes it feel like we're a proper podcast, mate.
Does feel a little bit like that, and it's nice and bright as well, which is great. Which is it's not pink. It's not pink. It's not purple or not green. So that's a massive bonus.
Yeah, a little bit overdone, but we try to keep it a little bit Tottenham-based colours as well. A little bit sneaking in there.
Yeah, just a little bit. So yeah, over to my right, you can see the new logo. Down below is obviously our Twitter handles at Above Average FPL for myself and at Baker FPL 343 for Baker. And along the bottom, you'll see the scores with notable points totals from individuals that have returned. There's no clean sheets or anything like that, but anyone who got a bonus, anyone got an assist, anyone got a goal, you can see their name down there as well. Above us, to my left and to Baker's right, is our game week score and overall rank. And yeah, the podcast for guys listening, podcast account, as I say, at Above Average FPL. Baker's at Baker FPL 343. You can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts from. As I say, we're also on YouTube, Above Average FPL. Make sure you like and subscribe. That really, really helps us. In terms of the podcast, make sure you leave a review. That would be wonderful. Give us a rating, 5 stars. Well, I think we deserve that now, don't we?
Yeah. Just give us some feedback on the update. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Either just reviews are great, likes and subscribes are also great. Comments, a lot of this what we're changing here is based off comments we've had. So keep giving us it.
Magic. So that's the cosmetic stuff out of the way. How was your weekend, mate?
Can we go back to the cosmetic stuff and not talk about the game week? Because game week is bad. I just had a look and I think my game week rank currently is 5.5 million.
Well, I got 4.5 million. So don't do yourself too much of a disservice.
Yeah. A little bit left. Because of few auto subs. Emerson and Tony both missing out today, ill. I'm sure we'll talk about COVID with Tony and just maybe in general. It's not good, but look, I've passed 1,000 points. If you'd have offered me that in 15 game weeks, mate, snap your hand off. So, yeah, take the medicine.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, no, I mean, similar. Although I haven't had anyone have to come off my bench, which is kind of nice. Well, I say kind of nice. I had like Jesus, which is a bit of a pain. But I've still got Ben White tomorrow, so I'd fancy Arsenal to keep a clean sheet tomorrow. And I'm sitting on 44 at the moment. A small red arrow. Good day today. Bumo finally returned, and Rafinha got an assist as well, so that's good news for me. Obviously picked Gundogan instead of Bernardo Silva. That's a bit annoying. But it's what it is. Double Chelsea defence. Bit frustrating.
We'll talk about that, definitely.
Do you want to go there first?
No, it's exciting. Yeah, I think we're straight into that. But, we are in a position now where fixture swings are on us and December's on us. And, yeah, it feels like this week having a sort of whole week. Although it's Friday deadline, it's not that far, is it? It's like 5 days and we're there. 4 days for most people that listen to this. But, it should be fun, I think, with some fun fixtures. You look at it, you've got United, West Ham, City, Palace, Watford, Arsenal. Those are players that when we look at our teams might not have enough of. So it feels like there's a lot of people on wildcard, I think, that have saved it.
Yeah, I did see a few of those flying around actually.
Yeah, I'm
I mean, we all
jealous.
kind of knew that James from Planet FPL had his tucked away, and he's hit his.
Yeah.
So we all kind of knew that one. But yeah, there's quite a few that have been.
There's a few. It's a good time.
Hit. I mean,
good time.
I think quite a few teams, you know, as much as these fixture swings are great. I mean, it feels weird not just leaning on those top three teams and just tripling up on all three of those, feeling like that's kind of the way to go. But the problem is at the back, as we know, it's becoming very difficult to sort of almost guarantee those clean sheets. Where in games where we would have expected them perhaps in the past to keep cleans, so it's a bit frustrating.
They're still the ones though, you know, the ones that are. If we're looking at teams that are performing currently, you know, over 2xG, I always feel like if you're going attacking, you really want teams that are performing above 2xG on a regular basis, because you can have multiples then. If they're under 2xG, you really just want the talisman and that's it. So, you know, West Ham did this weekend, Liverpool did, City did, and Tottenham did. 2 games in a row Tottenham have as well for them, which is unusual for us. But they're still those teams that are in there, and I'm not sure better fixtures. You know, it's very hard to stop those ones, no matter who they're playing. Some of them, especially not so much Tottenham, but
no.
Tottenham have had good fixtures. That's contributed to theirs. But the Liverpool, the City, Chelsea. Well, first game in it, Chelsea, West Ham, Chelsea, I should say, really. 3-2.
Yeah, very, very, very open game. More open than I would have liked it to be. I mean, to be fair, I think obviously the game turned on a moment of pure stupidity. Like, what the? I mean, look, the back pass is one thing, right? And the back pass, fine, it wasn't great, but honestly, if he'd have just put his boot through it, then no one would even been talking about it as a bad back pass, because Bowen was close, but he wasn't like challenging him at the time. He was hurrying him more than anything.
Yeah.
And if as soon as Mendy takes a touch, he's in all sorts of trouble, because apart from probably Ederson, goalkeepers aren't footballers. So
we've given Tuchel lots of credit. You know, he's done very well. He's doing very well. You know, they're in and amongst it. But I think we've always felt like the first 8-9 games of the season, they massively overperformed their XG, and they massively overperformed their XG conceded.
Yeah,
they tightened up well. They had a very good run. And you knew what you were getting from them. Saw what happened last week in the midweek game against Watford, and I thought they were poor. I thought they were really poor this time. And why I say they were poor is that if you think about elite teams at the moment and you compare them to good teams, and you think about the formations they play, good teams historically and over the last 3-4 years, and even teams that have won stuff, have played 4-2-3-1. That was a very, very popular formation that a lot of people did. You don't see many of the top teams playing 4-2-3-1. Now it tends to be those are more middle of the table. So West Ham play 4-2-3-1. Prior to Conte, Tottenham played it, Everton play it, Wolves play it. Yeah. Lots of good top half teams play it, but it doesn't tend to be the teams that are winning it. You know, if you then go to Liverpool play 4-3-3. We know that. And what they do with 4-3-3 is they play with a front 5 effectively, because you've got fullbacks create the width, they pin you back, 3 players in the middle annihilate you.
Yeah, it's an aggressive. It's almost like a 2-5-3, isn't it?
It's an aggressive
or a 2-3-5. It's nuts.
Is a top formation that teams play, and it's to create a front 5, create the overloads, pin them, and City do it the same, but they do it in a different way in that they don't use the fullback. Fullbacks actually become the 2 outside centre mids that Liverpool have, and then the 2 centre mids actually go through the middle, and then the outside of the front 3 goes out. But it's still the same. Actually, it's still 5 at the front, midfield
Yeah.
Actually becomes a 3 and then a 2 at the back. And that's just, then you go the 3-4-3 type teams, or even a 3-5-2. 3-5-2 is reliant on having a very good number 10, and there's not actually that many of them. There's probably only like Bruno Fernandes in the league of it. Everyone else is more sort of your wide forward, or there's a load of them at City, but they just play up front basically. But as a single talisman, that's when you tend to work in a 3-5-2. But 3-4-3, so if you look at Tottenham, play 3-4-3 now, and that's what Inter played, and that's what lots of the top teams play. It still works as a 5, because what happens is your wing backs really pin the team back, the front 3 tuck in, and you've got a 5. And effectively, all top teams at the moment play with a front 5. That's how you should do it. Chelsea have been hammering teams playing a front 5. That's what they've done.
Havertz, Hudson-Odoi, whoever else, followed by Chilwell and James.
Yeah. And you kind of know how it works. It is that the 3 create the room for the 2 outside, the 2 outside pin them back, or the 3 occupy the space, allow the overload, and the 2 actually get in behind almost, which is what's happened. So then you look at what Chelsea have done since Chilwell's been out. I mean, it's very easy to blame it that it's Alonso in instead of Chilwell out. But actually, if your tactics are good, it doesn't really matter the personnel. So Tottenham have not got good players, but you can see a good coach putting people in the right places, and therefore all you now need is the right players, and it'll be even better. What you've seen is that they've suddenly gone without tactic. So instead of having these pinned wide players, you've now got Mount and Ziyech, and Mount and Ziyech want to be playmakers, and they want to play in the margins around the edge between the penalty area and the touchline, and you're like, well, that's then making the defender a bit easier and so forth. But you've also then only got one weapon. So great goal from Mount that was made from Ziyech, in there. That's not what you want them for. Actually what you wanted is the man on the overlap. So Reece James and Alonso are bad. And that's says to me, that's a crack in a team. That they're suddenly not playing a formation like they're a champion. And they got punished. And rightfully punished. And West Ham are a very good team. We talked about these 4-2-3-1 teams. If you mess up on a 4-2-3-1 team, they'll do you. And because it's a very solid formation. That's why it's so popular. West Ham are a very good team. And some good finishes from some good players. Bowen and Antonio are good players. Spoke a lot about them. Set pieces, great penalty from Lanzini.
Yeah, I think though. I mean, we can say what we want about the last goal, but do you think that was definitely? You think that was a cross? It was definitely a cross, wasn't it?
It was a cross. It's very, very difficult to tell. I've got a feeling it might have flicked off Loftus-Cheek's foot, which has actually made it go a bit weird in the trajectory.
That was really weakly defended. Full stop. Anyway, because the way that James dropped off him, sort of Loftus-Cheek did point him down the line and say, "Go and cover the runner." And was it Antonio down there? Yeah, and so just gave the space for the cross, which is probably what West Ham were looking for. I think he miscued it, but the shape it took, and it doesn't surprise me that Mendy was caught off guard in some respects, because
it just looks lazy. The whole performance just looks lazy.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about Liverpool Wolves in a bit, but you just expected they were going to come and win that game.
Yeah.
And they're both away from home, but I don't know. Chelsea have got a really good run now, next few games. And if they don't show up in the next game against Leeds, I think it's next, isn't it?
Yeah, Leeds, Everton, 2 home games.
They can't afford to miss now, and it always felt like they couldn't afford to miss against these 2 juggernauts. But I was tactically really disappointed with Tuchel, and I feel like unless he gets that back, unless he really pins it on the outside players, and you look, Mount and Ziyech,
I mean, they've got to
they look
identify it
like
quickly, haven't they?
they look like good games, but you do need runners in those front ones. Like I felt like they lost a bit without Hudson-Odoi as that willing runner, that direct player. Timo Werner early in the season, you know, is just that direct, that bit that scares you through the middle that creates the overlaps outside. Slow players like Ziyech and Mount, they're not scary players, you know. So great Mount. Everyone's got Mount this weekend. Has probably got a green arrow, you know, but. I don't think that's how I should be playing football.
So you think that Tuchel will have to change the methods against Leeds and Everton, or do you think that from an FPL point of view, if you're looking at a Chelsea player for a few weeks, that they're going to set up in a similar vein? It's difficult, isn't it?
I think Mount's a good option, mate. And he took all of the set pieces off the fullbacks. That makes them a worse option. He's occupying their space and he's taking those corners. So I'm watching him, not thinking so much about, you know, whether I should get him in, but also thinking is that he's killing the other assets that we have got at the moment. He's an interesting watch and brief. But if they don't start winning games, they'll have to keep changing things.
Yep.
West Ham, you've got no West Ham at the moment?
No, I've got no West Ham at the moment, and I've got no West Ham next week either. Definitely not.
And you know, Bowen's obviously a lot easier to get to Antonio, isn't he? From a cheaper point of view. But
well, yeah.
There's a lot of good midfielders, isn't there? Where there's not so many good attackers, and so therefore it's like, which is the way. I think there's a couple more weeks to play out to see.
I mean, I can't actually get anywhere near Antonio personally, because if I did, then I would have to move away from what I did last night, really, which was we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
or do you want me to talk about that now?
No. We'll save them for the end. Save them for the end. What we've done.
Yeah. So yeah, that doesn't fit my fit my team structure right now, and probably won't until wildcard, whenever that might be.
I think it's an interesting choice for a lot of people at the moment. That you know, Kane and Vardy effectively are about 50% owned in the top 100k. And I think you've got the decision of, do you wait and see if Lukaku suddenly hits form, because those fixtures are there. You've got Ronaldo, fixtures are there, but they're big money. You can drop it right down to a king. Or you've got your middle ground with Antonio. And I noticed straight after the Tottenham game today is that Kane's been sold a lot, and Antonio looks like he's being bought a fair amount, being bought more than those other ones, King and Dennis. Actually, Dennis a lot more than King at the moment. So Dennis and Antonio seem to be the recipient of a lot of the Kane transfers. But that's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of transfers bubbling around, and those ones where they're releasing a bit of money. It could be fun.
Just onto structure formation of Chelsea. I just don't think that Lukaku feels like he will be a good option, just because of the way they play. You know, there's a reason that their number 9, whoever that has been, whether it been Werner, whether it been Havertz, whether it been Lukaku, they've scored 1 goal since Lukaku was injured. Like, that's it. Since
he needs, you know, they should be playing Pulisic. I believe they should play 2 of Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Werner. I just don't think they have enough pace in their team. There's a reason, you know, is why Pep plays Sterling ahead of or Jesus above Mahrez most of the time. You know, and he plays Foden, and Foden's quick, and he plays Foden on the left, not Grealish on the left. It's that he's looking to get that pace. There is that, look at Mane, Jota, Salah. Like, it's just so much pace.
Yeah.
Then you go to Chelsea and you go Ziyech and Mount. There's no pace, and Lukaku's not pace. Havertz is not pace. You know, and then Jorginho and Loftus, like, unless they use their fullbacks in such a dynamic way. There's no pace in the team, and so they have to, in my opinion, bring in the likes of a Pulisic or Hudson-Odoi into that if you want to play a 3-4-3.
Yeah.
So he's not an idiot, Tuchel. Look, we've praised him, as I said, all season, but massive game from this week.
Yeah. Right. Moving on.
Striker that gets points. Wilson.
Two games, 9 points back to back. Points, all the bonus. Whether it be
He'll
penalty.
get him, won't he? He'll get him when they get. If he scores, he gets the bonus. You know.
I think Wilson owners have one more game. I mean, I wouldn't want to sell him before Leicester. I think you can keep him there, and then I think you have to move away. But I think
Antonio will be the recipient there again. We come back to that. Is a lot of people looking how do I get there?
But what are we basing our moves to Antonio on at the moment? Just fear?
Well, he looks creative. He didn't actually look like he was going to score, but he should have had two assists really.
We feel like you have to go to Antonio in the same. I mean, and it's not quite the same as everyone feeling they had to go and get Kane, because to be honest, it felt like you had to go and get Kane really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just there's nothing in the last 8 game weeks that says I have to get Antonio in, even when the fixtures turn. There's absolutely nothing there that says I have to get him in, because there's enough quality around. But again, we're back onto West Ham, Jesus. But Newcastle, so yeah, I mean the game was okay.
It is an interesting one. What you're saying though is that if Newcastle win, Wilson probably scores.
Yeah, it was the same last season.
If Wilson scores, he probably gets the bonus.
Yeah.
So each of his goals is effectively like a 9 point. Whereas with Antonio, there's a lot of people doing a lot of good things in West Ham. They're a good team. And therefore, even if he scores, doesn't necessarily mean top bonus. And yeah, he's a good value option. And I don't think I'd jump off him that quick as I did. I was saying last week I think he's a very hard buy, and I think he continues to be a very hard buy going forward. But
I just wouldn't want to. I mean, if I didn't own him, I wouldn't want to consider him until after the United game, the Man United game. Nah. I think if I was owning him, I'd have him in for Leicester, and I'd move him on after that. Even on a short-term basis, those 3 fixtures just don't sit right with me. And there's enough fun to be had down in the lower ends of the striker pool, I think, but not down at Burnley.
Mate,
so
like 0.6 xG for the game. Cornet injured, like
not ideal. A lot of fantasy managers burnt with that, because I think a lot of people would have gone Cornet over this relatively nice little run of 4 fixtures that they do have. I mean,
they've just become very, very difficult to touch. They've become very difficult to touch. I mean, in the game, I'll tell you this morning, I was annoyed. I am biased in the fact that I haven't got Wilson and he gets 9 points. I've had a bad game week, but I was more annoyed about the decision for the Wilson goal following like the Villa Leicester game. And, we see something where if the game's going to go one way where we're sort of siding on not protecting keepers, like I think everyone's wanted that for 20 years, like that we don't protect keepers, and we want that to happen. So I am fully I don't think Shah has anything to do with it. So that's I don't think that's an issue, but I don't like that Schmeichel got away with it. And what I don't like is that we don't look at the right stuff on VAR. So with the Villa Leicester one, it's the end, but they just show a still rather than show actually how it happened. And in this one, the thing for me was Lascelles. In my mind, he pushes him, and it's contact. And you said, I'm not sure I get the right angle to see whether there is there or not. Yeah, totally agree. It looks to me like it is, but I know that if you go to try to catch a ball and someone pushes you on the way, it's going to contribute to you dropping a ball. And he does physically put his hand out not to play the ball, to play the man. And therefore, I feel like that's the thing we should focus on and look at. And they don't. And I'm like, what's the point in having these video refs? Like, we either use it to improve the game or we just don't bother.
Yeah, I mean, the focus, I think the focus went there, and this is just my opinion anyway, the focus went there because that's what Nick Pope was so adamant about. He was like, Fabian Scherer's got in my way, I've tried to catch it, I've caught the ball, and I've landed on him, and therefore he's fouled me. So the whole focus would have been, right, VAR, can you check this part of the challenge?
Yeah.
They weren't actually looking at the Lascelles point. And again, this is like I say, we had a discussion this morning. I agree there was contact. In my opinion, though, keepers come through bodies in the box all the time, and there are little flicks and whatever. And I stand by the fact that I don't think you could see how much of an impact it had on him. To which I think I can't say what the VAR would have given had he looked at it, but whether there was enough, I'm not sure there was enough there for it to warrant a foul.
And I agree to an extent that's the case. But if I then what I did when you said
sent me the fucking rules.
I go to the rules, and the rule says if a player touches a goalie without an attempt to play the ball, it's a foul.
Yeah.
And actually, if they do it in a bad way, it straight away becomes actually something more serious. But it's a foul
it's dangerous
if you try to do it. Because somebody's trying to do something and you're trying to push them whilst in midair or something like that, then it's a foul. But then with the one with Schmeichel, immediately I saw loads of people like going, "Let me show you the rule book" type thing, and it's like, let's just be consistent here. Either we're every single time going to go, "There's the rule book" and do it, or we're not going to do that, and we're just going to say, actually, good of the game is give that goal, give the Newcastle goal, give the Villa goal, and let's enjoy it.
The thing is, it's about applying it, and you can't. You're asking two separate people that didn't make the decision the day before to make the decision now, and they're not basing their decision on. It happens in games all the time where referees give a decision and then maybe they think, oh, I might have just given that a little bit too easy. I might let just one little slide a little bit later on when it's not important. And that's what we get. Like the decisions balance themselves out. I mean, you don't get that day to day. You might get that in a game, but you don't get that day to day. So obviously it was an independent decision. I think it was a bad decision myself. But there we go. Yeah, so
Southampton, Brighton.
Yeah, let's do that one.
These two are interesting teams for us going forward because McCarthy got injured and Forster's already injured. So they might be trying to do some kind of like emergency goalkeeper loan. Yeah. Like, oh, that's interesting. So next up for them, they got Arsenal away. Then they got Palace away. They got Brentford at home. West Ham away. Tottenham home. So West Ham in there, Arsenal in there, Palace in there. A lot of people with a Gallagher, Smith Rowe, Antonio, Bowen, those type of players. You're like, this suddenly it becomes a bit interesting. And Brighton have got no defence because Webster's injured. We've got Duffy now picked up his 5th yellow card. Dunk suddenly picks up a injury and he's out. They got problems.
Broken teams.
Yeah, we've got 2 broken teams there where suddenly I don't think you want a part of them. Interestingly, Sanchez. Potter made some weird comments about Sanchez. Like, I think he was asked, is Sanchez rubbish, basically? I think that's what they asked him in a nice way. And he was like, oh, he's been quite good for us, didn't have the best game. And then just, threw him under the bus a little bit. And you think, oh, that did happen, I think, last season. And then suddenly Steele came in for a game. So that'd be an interesting watch. But, Brighton suddenly look an issue. I guess the good news is if these centre-backs are injured, it almost certainly means that Lamptey plays every game. Sarmiento, who suddenly came in for a game as a right wing-back the week before, he's out, got to have a big operation, so he's injured as well. So suddenly Veltman's almost certainly going to play centre-back virtually every game. Lamptey will play right wing-back every game. So Lamptey is someone to look at, but you just have to ask yourself is how many clean sheets they're going to keep with. In the next 5, you've already got Tottenham, United and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult for them. And Southampton suddenly, with no keepers, Livermento's going to sit on benches.
I found it interesting that they went back to a two up top. I mean that three. I mean, I guess that was just really just trying to take on Liverpool for some reason.
He messed up.
Yeah.
He just messed up. He just messed up. So I think we don't want a barge of those really, and I think Livermento is going to sit firmly, probably second on the bench if you've got like a fodder third one most weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. No point wasting a transfer on Tino. He almost had an assist as well. Brozier put one wide. I think it was Brozier put one wide late on.
Don't know. Good finish, Brozier.
No. Was a good finish. Really good finish. Really smart. Really early. Enjoyed that. As a former striker, really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed old Morpie knocking out the clean sheet because my week was already completely muddied. So at least get rid of that. Maybe semi-happy. The highlight of my week. That's how bad this week's been. Should we talk about...
He loved that. He loved the interview on Match of the Day, didn't he?
He did. Should we talk about Jota's miss?
Christ. Oh, man. Like, what the hell is he thinking? Like, I think they said it right on Match of the Day, to be fair. He thought, I'm just going to be... I'm here in front of the home crowd. I'm just going to smash the hell out of this.
I think it's difficult when that happens, isn't it? How often?
It's not
in your career do you have it though? Like, it's so weird. Like, and he's just not composed. I think that's exactly what we know of Jota. We've talked about it before. Is people get frustrated because he misses big chances, and I'm like, well, he just keeps getting big chances because this week, Mane and Salah, I think had 3 shots between them, and he had 4. I'm like. I'm not sad that I've got the highest volume producer in the best attacking team.
No.
What are we going to do? No one's going to take him out. Just feel you got lucky if you got away with it.
Yeah, and I guess his ownership meant... I mean, the ownership on those 3 means it doesn't really matter anyway. You just let them play and whatever happens, happens. Because your rank doesn't change because of them. It just doesn't.
I think what we just absolutely see is that Trent's just a different world to the rest of the defenders. Like, he just accumulates bonus so quickly. Like, even at 0-0, he was well on for the free bonus. And there was a few times where I thought, ain't Nori again. We've talked about him before, but he was challenging for it. But Trent he creates chances. He does good things. He makes loads of recoveries because he's up there and they often win the ball on the way back. He's just an absolute animal for it. He don't get booked, does he? And so you never worry he's going to miss games. No. He doesn't ever take him off his bonus. He's just a no-brainer for everyone forever. So whatever we want to try and do and make money around, you just ended the season with those, him and Salah, and then Jota's. I've just realised I put 8 Nori in the stats down below on the ticker, and because he got 6 points, I just assumed he got a big ton of bonus, but he got subbed off. He'd done his bum in, I think somehow. Literally started holding his bum, and I was like,
"Damn, right, I've got to get rid of that."
I thought he was just messing around with cramp, but then he did actually have to go off. But yeah, that was quite unfortunate because obviously he was playing left side, and I mean that touch from Salah, it's so good. Like any other type of touch, and you don't get in like he did on that one. Is the ball from Van Dijk's great, but the touch to just shift it out your feet 30 yards in one touch, get there, great pullback, and Origi does Origi things. I mean, I don't know if you saw Klopp talking about him, but he even just said, I hope at some point he finds a manager that plays him more than I do.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, it doesn't actually matter what you do, Divock. You're still going to just be this person that comes off the bench occasionally. Yeah, it is what it is, mate. Like, you need the free, you carry on with the free. Wolves just didn't make a dent. 0.1 XG for the match. Like, no glove had.
No.
No glove laid on that one.
Nope.
City, Watford. I can see you rubbing your face. It's because you went Gundo over Bernardo, isn't it?
It is a little bit, yeah. I was desperate to get on that Gundo train, and to see him have the chances that he did have, which was frustrating because he had 3 shots, and one of them was the one that was saved just before Bernardo scored, and the other one was the other one I saw. I must have missed one of the others, but was he skied it over the bar from the edge of the box, and it was like, well, if I didn't own him, that's the sort of thing that would be in the back of the net. Which is it's one of those you just feel slightly frustrated by it. And Jesus not starting was a pain. To be fair, when Mahrez came on, I thought I'd been given a sort of stay of execution on that one. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway, really, because I only had Josh King, who almost scored like straight after he came on, after Jesus came on, which would have been horrific if that happened.
It's they're truly phenomenal, mate. So no team in the league reached 3 XG this week, and they reached it in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
just mad, Liverpool.
And if you took
close,
but if you took XG out of it, and you looked at it just from an eye test, imagine XG didn't exist.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you thought it could have been 6 or 7-0 at half time.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those that literally you thought it could have been like that.
Because the mad is the goals weren't actually, because they're good goals, aren't even huge numbers. Is the last one from Bernardo's and nothing, but they're just animals, and we talked about it already, but it's a very, very clever way of playing, is that you're using players to pull width, and if the only thing I do think about it is that Pep said it. So Pep said a little while ago, if you play teams that play 3 at the back, what you do is you go really, really wide with your wingers, because if you get width, you absolutely destroy the whole back 5, because the wing backs then can do nothing.
Yeah.
And you've exposed therefore you've then exposed the core, and then you put everyone from the middle forward, and they're in big trouble. So then you look at it and you go, well, there's a lot of teams that are doing that at the moment. Then you look at this team here that are a 4 at the back team, but realistically they just sort of sat everyone back there, and they just completely mismatched them with this same way of playing, that you have a false 9 and then 2 of the middle players just run riot, do whatever they want going forward, and then 2 very wide players. But even the wide players, it's not that they don't get chances. It's not like they're going wide and they don't ever get a chance. Foden could have easily returned a lot. Obviously, Sterling did score, but they're just animals. They're just animals when they look like that. And they obviously hate Watford with a passion, because they just, every time they ever play Watford, they've destroyed it. But there's loads of really detailed Foden versus Gundo versus Bernardo threads. I've seen countless ones in the last 24 hours about them. I think everyone who hasn't got on board, the first thing I always check when I see these threads, I just go to the person that's making them, I go check their team. I go to their media and check their team, because you've got to be careful of framing in that sense. And I think anybody that's got them, they don't need to frame, because they've got a brilliant asset and they're benefiting from it. Whoever you've got, great. The question you should change your mind to, if you've got it, is, do I get more? And how many do I want? Because these are just brilliant assets. And they haven't got that many that can do that through the middle, really. There's only, through the middle, as in the midfield ones, De Bruyne, Bernardo and Gundo are probably going to play the majority of games. 2 of the 3 are definitely going to play every week. And if they do, they'll do great. And if they don't, just think of it like, they blanked, and you got somebody else off the bench, and hopefully they'll do okay, But they're just so good. Me and you. So there's a spoiler alert. Are both going with Bernardo.
Bernardo.
Yes. Yeah. There's loads of brilliant stats out there, but I was sold. I just wanted to get through this week because I had to work out how to fund it, and I wanted to give Rafinha this game today. And I had to take a hit if I wanted to do it beforehand. So I wouldn't actually have gained huge numbers. But I was sold in midweek on Pep's interview. And, people talk about, I feel like I'm an eye test a lot, as much as stat, but my eye test consists probably 2/3 watching the games and 1/3 listening to managers. I feel like you get so much from that source. And when they asked him, is Bernardo one of the top players in the league, Pep just looks straight at the microphone and goes, the best.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we can buy the person that Pep, the best manager in the world, is saying the best player in the league. And we can get him for 7.5 million.
Yeah. There was a bit, I think there was a bit of petulance around how he said it, because he also said, if you'd have asked me 2 years ago, he said 2 years ago when we scored 98 points, he was the best player then, and he's the best player now. There was I don't know whether there was any context around the way he was asked the question, because I guess the issue that he's having at the moment is everyone is trying to compare him to compare everyone to Mo Salah when Salah's not a midfielder. Like Salah and Silva are completely different players. They play in completely different positions. They take up different spaces, and that's the reason they have different goal outputs. And they play in completely different teams with completely different systems that require them to do completely different things.
They do, but he'll get the same amount of chances. He'll match Salah probably for shot volume if he plays that right side, because Sterling's effectively playing Trent's position. Bernardo's effectively, think about the transition when it moves into attack, not think about the formation when it sits on the team sheet. In attack, Sterling is Trent and Bernardo is Salah. That's only in attack when they're in sustained possession, how it goes to. The downside of Bernardo compared to, say, Foden, for example, for me, is in the break. So if a team is attacking City, then Foden's great and Sterling are great because they are going to be the first port of call. They are going to be where the ball goes to. But unless they get in, he'll get there. So the goal he scored in midweek last week was Jesus gets the break. He's the one that pulls them across. But they just go the second they get there. And they make those runs. I thought Grealish through the middle was very good as an opportunity. As should have scored the header. I mean, I was impressed with the header, to be fair, but still should have scored the header. I just like those middle runners. I like them a lot. And I think if you have Gundo and Bernardo, you're going to get a goal every week.
Yeah. Yep. Which is why I've got both. Yay.
Yay. They're just... I can't look past Pep saying he's the best player in the league. Just can't look past it for me. Because you can say Foden special, and I guarantee you if they play the same amount of minutes that Foden will probably do it, but he won't play the same amount of minutes. Because Jack's a really good player and Jesus is a really good player, and those players can play the positions that he plays
They've just got a lot of really good players, haven't they?
They've just got a load of really good players. Like we talked about Chelsea earlier.
I was going to say, do we think they got lazy at the back, though?
I don't think they care. I don't think they care.
What does that mean what does that mean for us? If they don't care, then what does that mean? What does that mean for us? Because a lot of people are moving. A lot of people are moving on to two. Well, there's a lot of people sitting out there with two City defenders now as well. Do you think that's the right way to try and attack?
I feel like okay, but like I like Laporte. I like Laporte more than Diaz.
He gets chances.
He was unlucky not to score there.
He had a header and a volley in the first.
I look at it and say, if you were asked me, should I go Alonso to Laporte? I like that move. Like, that feels fun. He's had his 5th booking. Can't get the ban anymore. Gets a booking, comes straight back in that team.
Yeah.
I like him as more fun, than probably Diaz at the moment for the money. They're good. They're good options. Diaz just scored last week. You can't argue with them.
Yeah.
You don't want to price yourself out of the midfielders, and you don't know how many more you might want, because you definitely want Cancelo, and you definitely want at least one midfielder. And I think the chances are we go for 2 midfielders, and therefore I don't want to block that at the moment with a second defender. It's too beautiful to watch. Like, I didn't have anyone. I didn't have anyone because I had Cancelo, but I just felt like I had no one because he's effectively owned, means nothing really. And I loved that game. That was the most fun I enjoyed watching that game. And lots of people, I'm sure, watched it on the sofa. And I just thought to myself, I can't keep doing this, because I enjoyed it this week. And I look at my rank and it's doubled. And I'm like, that's only going to get worse next week. So I enjoyed it this week when they were like 25, 20, 15% owned, those players.
Yeah.
I won't enjoy it when they're 40, 50.
Yeah.
And I want to enjoy that party. So 1, 2, 3, get on it.
Yeah. Right. Today's games, and we need to move a little bit faster, I think, because otherwise we're going to be on that long pod. I guess anyone that's watching will be enjoying the new.
Yes, I'm sure they are. I don't think I've got a lot for today. To be fair,
we watched
games.
Yeah, I was going to say we watched Tottenham, but we've only really seen highlights of the rest. Well, I don't know. You might have seen more of the Villa Leicester game than me.
I watched the Villa Leicester game. Yeah. So Leeds Brentford. I just on that one, I can't speak on it. I didn't watch, just in the goals, from it, and I just feel like it's the same thing when you watch the highlights of everything. Everything involves Rafinha, so he's still a good player. I don't think they're not going to score any goals. I think Bam Bam, is back in the business.
I think that's massive for him to score straight away.
Massive,
so big.
I think it just gives him an outlet all the time. I just think as well, we want other midfielders, so he's an easy move for me. Those fixtures are just not enough.
Yeah.
And Brentford, obviously Tony's out. I wouldn't be racing to sell Bumo like I was. It's no coincidence that he gets a return. Canos, I think, picked up his 5th booking today, so he's out the next game as well. So they literally probably have
Boomer and Vissa.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry too much about getting Bumo gone. He's playable.
Yeah.
Man United. Again, didn't watch it. Very interested to look at the stats. And like I said, I find 2/3 from watching the games and 1/3 from listening to the manager. I mean, Ralph Rangnick is likeable, isn't he? He's very, I don't know, see much of him, but I watched the interview today, and he does give you confidence. And there must be something about him that does that, because I saw a tweet earlier asking about what's the type of thing, and you could look at it with Conte and say, he subs these people, he does these people, and you think, this is a guy that's been coached. He's actually only been coaching like 2 of the last 10, 12 seasons as a coach. Interesting, they said to him, like, how did it feel? You've not been doing that. He said, look, I've been doing a sporting director, and I'm a very hands-on sporting director, so it's not like he's been out of it. And no. I've been coaching for 25, 30 years before that, and like, just everything about him just feels like there's not a lot of doubts of him as a person and as a way that he'll play. And I just feel like that can't help but just come across to the team. And guess what? They work harder, they do better.
I felt like in the first interview that he had the other day when they was, and you just felt like, despite the limited amount of, he admitted, like, he literally said, I watched the last game, but everything else was on video. And so he really hasn't taken much content in on how United play, but immediately identified some of the main issues in terms of and he used that word control so much. And just, I mean, the statistics tell me that the statistics would tell me that they controlled the game better today. It appears that way. High in possession, more chances. You know, they had high volume of passes, 430 passes versus Palace's 230 odd passes. You know, they just had a lot of the ball. So that says to me that although he's only had sort of 24 hours with the team, at least the team understand like what he needs from them. Now, in terms of implementing that into that's kind of like the overall picture. So that's kind of the vision. The vision has kind of got in there. The tactical part on the short term basis is going to need to be coached in over the next weeks and months. But at least I think from a United point of view, they're set up to control the game a lot better. So that's good news for United fans. I think that's good potentially good for FPL. But I mean, Ronaldo had 5 shots, he had 4 in the box, but they were all really low XG chances that were just. So I don't know how. There's a lot of bodies in the way, clearly, and stuff like that is what I'm getting from that.
It could just be because it's Palace as well, but they've got some easier games coming up, and
well, they do. They have a ridiculous run, haven't they? So
they got a ridiculous run. I think a lot of us think too much about what happens on the football training grounds and stuff like that. Like realistically, training grounds are for fitness a lot of the time. Like there's drills that are obviously, are good set piece drills and set little works that are good and stuff like that. But these are players like, do you think Ronaldo really needs a lot of work on tactic, and Bruno and all these players? Like video sessions are really, really big. They do wonders for being able to look at it. It's what we do, we look at these things and think, I can tell you how that team plays and what's going to happen and how we should play. So I saw a lot of people saying, oh, you need a 45-minute session, but he did actually say he had some video sessions with them and they've been looking at it, and they've been not doing that for a few days. They've been doing that for 10 days, 15 days. Like, we all knew this was coming, and it's like, look, I want you to do this, and this is how we want you to play. And this is, their journey's already started through the way that they're already watching things. And there's certain players you look at and you think, I'm not sure how well they will cope with that. So looking at today, we talked about formations earlier. They set up in like a 4-2-2-2. But I then look at it and think, oh, well, you can get there like pass maps and fullbacks really high. Ronaldo, really high. Guess what? The players around him, in fact, almost a front 6 with them, in that they had Bruno, Greenwood. I can't remember the other one was out there. Was it Fred? Might have been. It was involved in it, but
Dalot, Telles, all of them.
But all of them, but especially the fullbacks, Telles and Dalot, and the sort of athleticism of getting forward. And you think, oh, creative and forward thinking. Telles and Dalot might really steal a march on Shaw and Wan-Bissaka here. Dalot becomes interesting, 4.4 million at the moment.
Yeah. And
if we're looking to take some money out, good fixture, he's a good option. He's a very good option, I think, potentially. If he keeps that position 1 game, 2 games more, suddenly we're really interested in him, because if they want creativity from fullbacks, Shaw can do it.
Wan-Bissaka can't. No, it was interesting. Dalot was second on the bonus as well today.
He was second on the bonus,
which is big.
So had a shot in the box, had 1 key pass, second on the bonus. That is interesting. Only beaten by Fred, who we're not getting, despite having 3 returns in 2 games.
4.9. Is he 5 yet? He'll be 5. He'll be 5 tomorrow. I'm interested in De Gea, but then and that's just me personally, because I'm sitting on Mendy. I think if you're sitting on Ramsdale, Sanchez, whoever else, I don't think you need to make a keeper move.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Mendy and double Chelsea at the moment and thinking United, and De Gea's only 5 mil, so it feels cheap.
Just looking today again at those parts, like just players playing in proper places. Like, it must be so good for a United fan, because that was the one thing we noticed under Conte immediately. It was like, oh, the players are playing in the positions I expect them to play.
Yeah.
Look at United today. It's exactly what you're seeing. It's exactly what we didn't see from Tuchel's Chelsea 2 games in a row. I just mentioned.
Well, it's funny you say that as well, because you talked about Tellers, we talked about Dalot, and you said Man United making a front 6, and that means that almost McTominay and was it Matic as well was in there? And McTominay didn't. McTominay was there. Did Matic come in later on? You must.
God, we're pros, are some way. Well, we do have to go first off in the week, mate. Like, we do have it tough.
He didn't even come off the bench, so forget Matic.
McTominay and Fred.
McTominay
It was Rashford. Yeah, it was Rashford, Sancho, Bruno, Ronaldo, plus the fullbacks to start. Then all 3 of Bruno, Rashford.
What I'm saying is, if you look at McTominay's heat map today compared to previous games, he is a lot deeper than he's played in a number of games. They talk about United needing and wanting and having to have a defensive midfielder. All it's taken is Rangnick 2 days with a bit of a shape change and a bit of a slight personnel change outside of the defensive midfielders or the centre midfielders, whatever you want to call them, and it's meant that McTominay is coming and sat into that position to collect the ball.
Yep.
And it's probably just giving them a better balance.
Their heat maps, they're very, very high. And
they always are, though.
But for a 1-0, like, you expect those kind of height on like a 3 or 4-0 when it's not. And I'm like, is that a sign of things to come, that they'll stay that high and we'll see explosions from them? Or will they stay that high and get exposed? And that is interesting. But I don't think we're going to really find that out away from Norwich next up.
And we're not going to find it out till,
away to Brentford. It's 2 away games, so it's going to be
they
a really
are,
interesting
but their fixtures full stop for the next 15 weeks of insane. So, it's not like,
if you've got no pressing issues and you've already got a City midfielder,
literally they're not getting tested. They're not getting tested until West Ham in 23 when they got them at home. Like, their next tough game is 28. Like genuinely, at face value, their next proper tough game is West Ham, and then it's City in 28, and we're in game week 16.
And I've got none.
And
you've got none.
I've got
none. And that's
what
I'm saying.
I've got one. Thank you.
1 United.
Yeah.
Have you? Yeah.
I do. You know this.
Did I know this?
You know this. I've got the main man. I've got Ronaldo.
Oh, you have got Ronaldo. Well, you'll talk even more positively this then. So, no fires and have Kane. Would you just go Kane straight to Ronaldo?
Well, yeah. No, don't, because I want as low ownership as possible for all his points. That'd be great. Cheers. But yeah, that'd be the obvious move.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to resist. I'm in a situation where it would be a -4 for me to do it, and I'm not sure just yet, but that might change. I've only got 0.1 available for it, and I expect Kane's going to drop this evening, so I'll be on exact money tomorrow. So it's going to be a interesting call for me, that one. But talking of Tottenham and
I was just going to say quickly, just quickly, do we take anything away from Palace for Gallagher? He only had 1 shot. It came from outside the box, miles away. It was rated quite highly. He got a couple of key passes, some 3 crosses. Do you think it was just the wrong game to really take anything? It's the wrong game,
but I look at it and say, home to Everton looks good. Next up, home to Southampton looks good.
Yeah.
Like
Watford,
away to Watford. Like, if you've got him, you want him for these next 3 games. So you're going to play him. So, but do I think many are going to bring him in? No, I don't think many are going to bring him in, because I think Bowen's a shiny new toy at that price, and or you go up to the City boys. So I feel like it's a don't sell, but
don't buy. Fair enough. Cool. Tottenham.
Well, Son's better than Kane, isn't he? Made a mistake there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
5
so
shots,
frustrating,
mate. 5 shots from Kane. But he just looks sluggish on the shot every time.
He looks sluggish on the ball, like full stop. I mean, there was
Yeah.
a couple of times down the left-hand side, I saw him get intercepted in the edge of the box. Just looks uncomfortable turning into spaces. He had a couple of fouls go against him in the first half as well, which would have maybe thought would have gone the other way. So I don't know, that sort of thing he should shake off. It's just not very. He's just not playing very well. He's just not playing very well.
It's quite simple. He's not playing very well. And Son hadn't been playing very well, but last game showed good signs of it. We talked about it. We had our Spaces chat on the Thursday night and talked that was the first game in midweek where you were like, oh, Son is back. And it was coming today, and I didn't expect anything else, and he showed it. He's got class, mate. He's a quality player, and I wouldn't move off Son if you've got him. Absolutely no chance. It's a very, very difficult one to go say lose Kane and get Son in. As there were people that went Son and got Kane in. And that's not worked out. But yeah, it's.
I still don't think our fixtures are terrible. I mean, I still don't think our fixtures are terrible because the really tough game obviously is the Liverpool game in 18. That's fine. It's at home as well. Whether that helps or not, I don't know. But yeah, that's right before Christmas as well.
Loads of positives available for it that you can take from it. The team is definitely on the up. You can't say it's not. Is the league position doesn't lie. The where they're at doesn't lie.
3 clean sheets in a row, isn't it?
Clean sheets are happening. They needed to because they've had good fixtures. So if they didn't do it in these ones, then that would be a big, big problem. But they've got a very good manager. They're in a good place as a squad. They enjoy their football. That's and Conte likes his number 9, and his number 9 is there, and his number 9 is getting chances. Yeah, if he had one chance today, but he had 5 shots. Only 2 people got 6, and he got 5 this game week. Salah had 2 shots. He had 5. Nobody's buying him. It's not. No. It's not. But do I think it's worth hit to Ronaldo? That's a difficult one. It's a really difficult one.
For Norwich.
That is a difficult one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to think as well. You got to think in midweek, it's a game United have to win, isn't it?
Yep.
So, and Ronaldo will play.
It's hard, but you almost do think there is a part that maybe it's inevitable that you are going to end up going, like you just said there, those fixtures of Ronaldo to 28, I look at it and go, I'm probably going to do it at some point.
So if you're going to hit him in, you might as well do it as early as possible and get as many points as you can from it. Yeah,
and just be cool with it, that it'll pay over the next 12 games. You'll probably get more points from Ronaldo over a 12-game period than you will Kane. So
yeah, and I think one thing you noticed with Kane from game week 9, 10, whenever because I remember when you brought him in, because you were like, the template has moved so quickly, or the top 10k have moved very, very fast to make sure they're in place with this move. And so actually in reality, Kane blanking for 4 games in a row while on all these great fixtures, no one's really been hurt. Like, no one's been hurt by it because quite a lot of people have owned.
I feel like I have hurt because I put all that money in. Got no points for me, so I feel like as an owner it hurt me.
Yeah, but you haven't lost loads of ground.
No, because the others haven't done it.
Yeah, that helps. The others haven't done it either. And the ones that have been Dennis and King, basically, who's everyone starting to pick up now.
It's a big call now. I was, and I've swayed in the last sort of 5-6 hours of, don't do it. Brighton have got bad, injuries and so forth, and he could be just as good at Brighton as Ronaldo is at Norwich. But if I wait too long, I'm priced out, and then it's a problem.
That was so big for me this week, but mainly on Bernardo rather than Ronaldo. Right, last game.
I assume, we talked about it.
I assume we're not going to go into Norwich. We're all right with avoiding Norwich.
No, avoid Norwich.
Right, last game.
McGinn's still a good option. Still a good option in those cheaper places, but again, I just don't see any place where we end up going to him over Bowen or getting up to the other ones and stuff. But
we've moved so quick. We've moved so quickly away from this, or it seems like we're moving very quickly away from this big at the back to kind of big in midfield, and everyone's kind of got Salah, Jota, Bowen / ESR / Gallagher, and then one or two City midfielders and or Rafinha, and it's kind of like they're the 6 or 7 players that you want. Yeah. So outside of that, maybe
I feel like the £5 million midfielders and the 5.5 so very quickly become the 6, and maybe I'll just spend 7 type things as well. So I do think there's.
Anyway, for me, I've just still got Bumo just hanging around, but yeah, I mean,
it's what it is, mate.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
McGinn's a nice little player, but I mean, he didn't have any shots today.
Leicester continue to be bad at the back. That is a thing. So again, the Kane thing, next 2 up, they're both away games, but they're Brighton and Leicester. They're a team with big defensive issues and a team that just can't defend. So,
and a team that he loves scoring goals against.
And a team that he loves scoring goals against, Leicester. Absolutely loves scoring goals against Leicester. So
look at us actually trying to champion Kane a little bit.
I'm just trying to say
that is proper Spurs,
that there
it?
could be an opportunity, but I've told myself there could be an opportunity 4 weeks in a row, and it's been horrific.
It's not like we can even say he just needs a goal, because he had that at Newcastle, and he's literally scored against the worst defence in the league, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's how bad it is, man.
It's bad, man.
There's nothing that's out. There's nothing. As good as those fixtures are, mate, I wouldn't be staying there.
Yeah, it's difficult.
You can't do it.
Cash and Young interest me from a we talk about defenders. Is Young he played back at left back again this week, but he played in the front 3 last week. Cash, I thought, looked really involved getting forward. Some good touches in the box, not just around. I think Konza pops up with 2 goals, and Mings is getting goals, and there's players there. There's players there.
As if Konza's got 2 goals today.
Nacho's gone, isn't he? Really, like he needs to just go in January. If Daka starts when Vardy doesn't, and then doesn't even come off the bench, that
he's got to, isn't he? How old is he? He must be what, 24?
He's not old. He's not old,
is he?
Perez come on before him.
25, yeah.
He came on with a couple of minutes to go, but Perez, when they took Daka off on 78, they brought Perez on rather than him. Like if you don't get subbed on ahead of Jose Perez, then give it up, mate. Just give it up. So, yeah, they're watching briefs at the moment, but I would. If I had Vardy, I would definitely find a way to Ronaldo. That's no doubt for me. No doubt for me.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's about us done.
It is, mate. So we've got a week.
Yeah.
So it's obviously wise.
How long is it? Friday
well, it's Friday night, but it's we've got a week, so it's probably wise not to make any knee-jerk transfers, right?
What?
Transfers? We should hold on to transfers.
So the game week hasn't finished till tomorrow night.
Correct. Oh yeah, the game week hasn't finished yet. We've still got Arsenal, Everton tomorrow.
How many transfers you made?
Me?
Yeah.
2.
2?
Yeah, I made 2.
I've made 2.
Have you?
I needed to just go. I wanted to go because of the money, and I wanted to try and keep 0.13 because I felt like it means that I've got a few days potentially on that Kane Ronaldo switch if I need to do it. So I had 2 frees. I've done Rafinha and Tony out for King and Bernardo.
Oh, okay, very nice. Yeah. Nice and easy, that one. And you've still got the money for Kane to Ronaldo.
I've got 0.1.
Is that what you need?
That's all I need. Yeah, they're both 12.3 as it stands today. And will be 12.2 tomorrow. So
okay, fair enough. Yeah, no. So I had to do mine last night actually. So I did mine before the games today. so we're recording on Sunday. If anybody's obviously,
because I didn't know about Tony obviously, so I wouldn't have done that.
No, but it was weird because I was doing something last night and I was just doing some bits and bobs, and then 11 o'clock I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have a quick look at my team. And I looked at my team and I was like, you know what can I do this? Everyone's talking about Ronaldo's fixtures and all this. Okay, let's see that. I want Bernardo. Feels kind of good. Oh, look, if I do Rafinha and Jesus to Bernardo and Ronaldo, I've got the exact money.
Upgrade.
And I was like, the thing is, I saw it and I was like, right, I need to text Baker. Mate, is there any chance you're awake? It was 11:20. You were well asleep.
Well asleep.
And so I was like, I jumped onto Spaces with Ducky and also a few others, and I was just like, look, guys, I don't normally do this, but I've got a dilemma that I need to do it today if I'm going to do it.
And then dilemma.
I just spoke about it for like
gold.
2 or 3 minutes, and my team now, I look at my team now and I feel like I've got like 10 massive hitters and then 1 crossbar hitter in Bumo. So I'm feeling really, really good about this.
I woke up morning, saw that message, saw your team, and went, now that is a team, mate. It looks beautiful, mate.
So, So I mean,
so we don't advocate early transfers, but we've both done it. And
well, you can. Yeah, I mean, but I've almost set myself up for a hit next week as well. I've kind of pre-banked it.
Yep.
Because I think I'm going to move from Mendy down to De Gea, and that's going to give me some. That's going to give me some funds because I've got nothing in the bank.
Chelsea's fixtures.
You
just don't like it.
Just don't like it. I think United's fixtures are better.
Yeah, it's fair.
And it's longer term as well. So that's why I like it. I feel a little bit smug actually because I recommended him to Garth yesterday before the deadline, and he brought him in. So
nice.
Happy he got Sarr out. Although I think Sarr must have got some save points, but
1 save point.
He must have been on for. He almost went wrong because he must have been on for an absolute blinder before that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so De Gea, and then I need to either upgrade Bumo or upgrade somewhere else. So like a 4.4 defender to somewhere maybe. I might need to get up to another United defender perhaps, or someone in the midfield, or if Gundo's not getting the minutes, I can go from him upwards to like Foden potentially as well. So it just gives me a little bit of options next week, and I don't mind taking a hit next week for that. The fixtures are so good for United, I don't mind that because I think De Gea will pay me back in clean sheets. And just I've got Ronaldo now in, and so I've got Bernardo and Ronaldo. It just feels sexy. It feels really, really sexy.
Mate, Portuguese sexiness.
Love it.
Love it.
Absolutely love it. So,
done.
Done. Is there any discussion on captain for next week? Nope.
Just that touch, mate, at the end. You're like, this is a player. This is a player. In Salah, he's just magical.
Cool. So, I guess last but not least, make sure you follow us both on Twitter, podcast at Above Average FPL, Baker FPL343. Wonderful new, fantastic logo design, graphics, etc. Overlays fantastic. Thumbnails coming very, very soon. So the YouTube video might have a bit of a funky thumbnail this week, but next week it'll all be sorted. Everything will be aligned. We'll be all up and running, which is great.
Good stuff, mate.
If there's nothing else,
cheers, captain. Cheers, captain.
Cheers, captain. Oh, cheers, captain. Yeah, FPL captain. Yeah. Cheers to him for the work he's done on this. Really, really appreciate it. Love it as well. So
love it.
Right. Well, I guess that's it, mate.
He's out, mate. Hopefully, I don't even know tomorrow night. Just give me some points. Need some points. Just give me some points.
I don't know what I want, to be honest, because it's Arsenal.
No, but just want some. Oh, mate, sell my soul right now.
Townsend going to come in for you?
I can't even bring myself to say his name anymore, but I have got Townsend. Yeah.
He's coming in, isn't he?
He's coming in.
Brace.
Off the bench.
That's what you want, isn't it? Brace. Townsend brace would be lovely for you.
I think there's more chance Benitez gets the sack, to be honest.
Cool, mate. Right, well, we'll leave it there. And I'll speak to you later.
See you later, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.